a motif of my 20s has been that I felt like I'm falling behind absolutely everyone. I see people around me who always just seem to be buying new houses, they got the perfect job, they're getting married, they're getting engaged, and it seems like for me all I seem to be doing is just blowing up my life to the point that I feel like I'm just miles and miles and miles away from everybody else.
Like, especially through my 20s, it was the worst that I've ever felt with that. I mean, it feels ridiculous, but even at the age of 18, I kind of was starting to feel like I was falling behind because everyone was going off to uni and I really had no idea what I wanted to do in life. And everyone else seemed to have such a clear path. And for me, it felt like I was just kind of trying to go from one thing to another and hope that something would stick, but literally nothing would stick. And since then, this trigger effect has come on where I'm watching people around me constantly, all of the time, thinking, why do I not have what they have? Why am I so far behind everyone else? People having children, people buying a house, people having their dream job, people traveling the world and going on these amazing holidays. And here I was feeling like I had no idea what my purpose was in life, not even really having any friends because I went through such a bad mental health situation that I couldn't even be good to myself, that I didn't really want to have other people in my life because otherwise I wouldn't have been a good friend. I didn't know what I wanted to do with jobs. I couldn't hold down a job. I, every 6 months, was burning out and moving on to a new place because I just physically couldn't cope. I couldn't go on holidays or anything because I didn't have the money. I couldn't save. People are buying houses, big old houses as well. And here I am with like £5 in my bank account at the end of the month. And it was just like, I have just always felt like I was so far behind everyone else. And it isn't really until recently when I've hit the age, I'm turning 29 this year. And it isn't until this year, for the first time in my life, that I haven't felt like I'm behind everyone else. And that's genuinely down to the fact that I've like completely changed my mindset and I've completely shifted how I look at things and brought in techniques into my life that I finally feel like I'm not miles away from everyone else, and I'm actually living my own life and got my own direct line, and I'm doing okay. I'm not doing too bad. If I could have brought all of this stuff in sooner so I could have realized, it would have been so great, because I feel like it would have saved me so much heartbreak and so much sadness that I felt like I wasted away my 20s when it wasn't the case in the slightest. I've literally just been doing something a little bit different from everyone else. Right, I am so desperate to go get a coffee and seize the morning. But if you're feeling like you haven't got your life together and you haven't got yourself together, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I need to get myself together a bit more, this is my room. I'm 28 years old and this is the state of my room. Questioning if you have your life together, you need to take a look at my room and know an absolute tip. Also, I'm sleeping in the makeup that I had last night. So if you're wondering if you've got your life together and why you're not as organized as everyone else, don't worry, I'm here. You got your big sister Lydia, and her room is an absolute tip. But am I going to deal with it right now? No, I'm certainly not. Go make a coffee. I can't function without a coffee in the morning, so we're going to go get coffee quickly and let's go seize the day. Good morning, Angel. Oh, good morning, little girl. How are you doing? Good morning. You enjoying the sunshine? Where's the coffee? Where is it? Oh, please don't tell me you don't have any. No, we have coffee. We have coffee. We have coffee. I need coffee. Oh, yeah. We got some. I think the most important thing to remember, if anything, is that you're not falling behind. Like, without a doubt, you are not falling behind. And I know it's such a hard feeling to feel like you're not, but you really, truly aren't. I have spent years of just having this, I don't even know what the feeling is. Like, I can't even explain what the feeling is. It's just this constant weird nagging feeling in the back of the head. This really sad feeling. Horrible like little pinch that just stays there constantly. And it's such a weird feeling because I don't even know where it came in. I know what it was like when I was 18 and things when I was going to uni, but I just don't remember going from being like, no, I'm doing okay to no, I suck. Like I'm doing really badly at life. And it's such a crazy feeling. Because I feel like everyone has that feeling. But if I try and describe why I feel like that, I don't think I can physically put a pin on it. I don't know when anyone came into my life and said, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this at a certain amount of time. And if you don't, you're failing. Because if they did, I would have told them to F off. If someone had came up to me and said, you have to have a baby by the age of your 26, I would have been like, screw you, I'll do what the hell I want. So I don't know when these expectations came from. I really don't. I don't know where they came from. So it's really strange to me that all of a sudden growing up and getting to the age of 18, I've had this feeling, and it's such a horrible feeling. It's a really awful feeling to have, this feeling in the back of your head constantly. You're falling behind everyone else is doing amazing, and you just suck. Like the universe hates you. You were that one person that didn't get the memo about all the things they were meant to be doing. And I really do think now it's so much more difficult from why we feel the way that we do. Because obviously now there's the big enhancement of social media. We have social media where every single second, every day, like I think the average view time for people is 7 hours on their phone. We're bombarding ourselves with other people's lives that are showing us why we're far behind. Because, you know, like I'm seeing friends who I don't understand where they get the money from, traveling the world and going on holidays. And then I'm at home scrimping together, feeding my dogs instead of myself because the funds are not there. I feel like it's gotten so much worse. Now we're seeing blips of people's lives. We're seeing the enhancement of people's lives and showing, oh, I did this, but then they're not showing like the graph to get there. You know, like someone buys a house and like I see a girl that I went to uni with who's bought a house, but then she puts the big post, but then you don't realize in the background their mum and dad, bank and mum and dad have like pitched in the whole entire deposit, and that's why she could do it. And that's like, you know, things like that. And there's nothing against if you can do that. Like, damn, I wish my mama could do that for me, but she's only just bought her own house because she's been saving for years to be able to do it. So it's one of those things that I think with social media it's gotten a whole lot worse. A whole lot worse. Yes, I'm a ton of porridge. Didn't think this brew put the camera too close. So I'm living at home in the minute. I'm 28 and I still live at home with my mum and my two dogs, Peggy and Betty, by the way. My little gorgeous girls. I love them so much. They're literally my favourite things in the whole entire world. They make my life happy. They literally makes my life worthwhile. But yeah, I live at home. I live at home at the age of 28. Do you know what? It's such a crazy feeling of living at home. When I was younger, if you had told me that I would still be living at home with my mum, I turn 29 next week. Not next week. No. This next month, I turned 29. In July, I turned 29. I think if you had gone back to my younger self and you had told me that I would be 29 years old and living at home with my mum, I'd laugh in your face. I'd be like, don't be ridiculous. If you want to go back in time, I would have, to when I was really little, I would have thought I would have had 3 kids by now, a house, been a supermodel, not supermodel. I wanted to be the pilot for the Red Arrows. You know, that's what I would have thought I was. And obviously as I got older, my opinions changed of what I would be. So when I was getting older, I probably would have told you that no, I would have been living in London by now or living in a different country by now. Here I am, 28, still living at home. And do you know what? I've had a lot of anger towards that for a very long time. And it isn't until recently that I've actually gone, wait a second, I need to chill out about it. Because I think there's a lot of expectations from society. Like you finish university, you come out at the age of 18 and you're meant to have your dream job laid out. You're meant to find a home that you're meant to move out from your parents, and you're meant to go and live this fulfilling life that you know exactly what you're going to do. And so it's this weird expectations that are kind of put on us, and these milestones that come out of nowhere that I have no idea where they came from, which don't really apply anymore to the modern day. Because if you think about it, right, if you think about the society expectations, when I look back, like my mum was my age when she had had, she would have had my sister this time last year. No, she would be having my sister right now because it's nearly her birthday at my age. And so when I look at these things, I see that this is what my mum had done. This is what my nan was doing. You know, they had these houses, but obviously it's ridiculous. I can't have those things because one, I can't keep a plant alive. My plant is just about keeping it alive upstairs and keep the dogs alive, lucky enough. But I just can't imagine myself being as young as I am, having kids and things. And when I look at what everyone in the past has had, people could buy a house for a tuppence. Like, that's the kind of things that people could do. And here we are, not even being able to afford to turn on the heating. All the social expectations that have been put on us in the past, these milestones that have come out of nowhere, and I don't even remember anyone telling me what milestones I should be hitting when. These are milestones that have come from decades before. So all these expectations that have been put on us have not really grown with the ages. And I think what makes it really easy to feel like you're falling behind is that we're looking at these milestones and these social expectations which do not fit us at all anymore. We can't do all the stuff that the other generations is. It is more likely for someone to be living at home now than it ever has been. I live at home, okay? But it's not bad. I did have a lot of anger towards it because of these expectations. I felt like I was falling behind, and therefore when I was saying I was living at home, I was so angry at myself that I was still doing it. And it's not until now that I've taken all of this pressure off of me and I've really looked at the fact that to live in London, my brother lives in London, right? He works in finance. He's a man in finance, 6'5", blue eyes, no trust fund because we can't afford that. He lives in London, and to live in a small bedroom, and then he's got like a flat that he's got like a kitchen, all that kind of stuff. He pays £1,800 a month to live in Clapham. That is mental. I had so much resentment to living at home, which I look at now and I'm like, why did I have that? And it literally is the social expectations. Here I am at the ripe age of 29 with no prospects and a burden on my family, but I don't care. It's absolutely okay. Like, I had a lot of anger about living at home, but when I look at it now, my mum is my best friend in the whole entire world. She's my happy place. She is. But it's just crazy that because of these social expectations that are just so beyond us being able to actually achieve nowadays, that has made me have so much resentment to living at home. It's just so hard nowadays. It's so hard with comparing ourselves online, seeing only blips in people's lives that make us feel like we're small and we're falling behind. And then also having those pressures on us that genuinely give us so much anxiety. And I feel like a lot of us probably waste a lot of our lives worrying about the fact that we're falling behind instead of living in the moment and realizing that there is no other competition in the world. The feeling is awful. The anxiety. When I tell you my 20s has just been filled with anxiety. That's all it has literally been. It's just me anxious about the fact that I'm not doing well. What about the future? What if I'm not living where I want to be in the future? What about if I never get my dream house? How comes I can't save when everyone else seems to be saving and buying their own houses? How comes I can't afford to go on holiday when everyone else seems to be going on 1,600 holidays a week? That's dramatic, by the way. That's really but it's just crazy. It's just insane to me that we're all feeling this pressure and feeling so down about our lives that it kind of stops us from living our own life because we're so worried about the fact that our life is not where it's meant to be instead of just focusing in on the fact that our life is here. It's right here. It's right now. It's right here. It's right now. And maybe we need to move away from that because that's what I've done. I've been really proud of myself of being able to get myself out of this massive blip of feeling like I am falling behind everyone else. And that's genuinely come from just shifting my mindset, completely changing my mindset of how I look at my life. My mum that I would do some laundry today and I've literally done that. What am I doing? Come. Hey. Right, let's quickly get some laundry on because I haven't done anything that she does. It's actually a really nice day and I'm wasting it. So, has this been washed? I feel like that smells clean. I don't know. Okay, let me put those in. other bits of laundry as well. Me and my mum always try and take it in turns to do. Oh, you okay? Oh, look how squatty you look. Oh, why do you look so small? Living at home. My mum and I take care of each other. It's not like living at home and she's doing all my laundry and all that kind of stuff. Well, I think it's really important that even though I'm still living at home, I'm an adult in the house. I'm not doing, my mum does tell me off sometimes when I leave the house an absolute mess because I'm such a friggin' messy person. But I always make sure that I'm doing things. We did have a chat, me and my mum, need you to treat me like an adult while I'm living here. Yes, I'm here and yes, I am your daughter, but at the end of the day, I am an adult and we need to have boundaries and the respect. So we do really look after each other. It's not like my mum's doing everything for me. If anything, it's kind of the opposite. Even though, sorry, there's a bit of laundry there. It was some whites. I've got some whites I can actually put on. Even though we are, we treat each other like as if we're roommates instead of parents and daughter. Even if I do get told off sometimes, you know. But I am an adult and unfortunately it's like part of life where I will have to keep living at home for a long time. So I need to be respected like an adult instead of a child, if you know what I mean. So, right, let me put this on. Then we're done. Some laundry. I think that if I could go back in time and do my 20s all over again, I wouldn't, because I hated it so much. Yeah, I wouldn't do my 20s at all over again. Like, I'm actually really excited for my 30s to come about. But if I was going to do my 20s all over again, I think that, first of all, I would not listen to anyone telling me it was going to be the best time of my life, because that puts an expectation on your 20s, which doesn't really need to be there, where your 20s should be a time of learning and finding out who you are. Idea of being behind yourself is, it is a made-up concept, okay, and it's made up by all of us. We all do it. I feel like society doesn't put it on us, but we watch society and therefore we build the concept of being behind on our own. And I think that's what the issue is that we look at everyone as a whole and we forget that even though we see ourselves as pack animals, so we see ourselves as having to do the same as the rest of the flock, but we forget that we are our own main character in our life. And this is what really helped me recently, is that it sounds so simple and so basic, but it really is. It takes like realizing that you are your own person to realize that our own experiences are what means that you're not falling behind, if that makes sense. Everyone is on their own path. And I used this analogy the other day and I don't know where it came from. I literally was just randomly, it just came to the top of my head and I was thinking about it, right? So you know when you're in a car, okay, and you are told, okay, we need to get here. Someone's like, follow me. Okay, let me see. It will, hopefully it makes sense, but this is how my head works, right? And this really completely changed how I thought about things. And I don't know, it's just weird where it came from. And if you think about it, like everyone has the same destination. We all are born and then we all end our end destination is where we're no longer here anymore. Even though those two cars are doing the same journey, they're not going to have the same journey. Another car will come in and make the other car have to move to a different lane. Maybe the sat nav, it says that there's traffic, so it takes you off one way, but the other car stays on that line because it's following its sat nav. Either way, even though the cars are having the same start and the same finish on this journey, even if it's something as simple as shifting lanes, each car is going to have a completely different journey. And it's the same aspect with life. Even though we have the same start and the same end as everyone, we all have our own different routes that we're taking. It's the same as the car. No one has exactly the same path, because no matter, even if you're following the car in the front, your journey of how you get there is going to be different from that car in front. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense. I hope it does, but do you know what I mean? We all have our own different experiences and we all have our own different ways of getting to the end line. And so there's no point of looking at ourselves as a whole. Everyone should be doing exactly the same things, because at the end of the day, your experience is going to be completely different from someone else's. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're behind. It just means that you're doing different things at different times. Your timeline is just different, because if you think about it, right, you might be looking at someone on social media and they've just bought their own house, but you might have just got a job that you really love. And it just means that you're doing them in different orders from the situation of someone else. And it doesn't matter if you're like me, still living at home or whatever, you're still doing incredible things and you're not behind, because you shouldn't be judging your journey compared to someone else. And I know it's easier said than done that we're all judging because we'd love to compare ourselves to others. But if you just take a step back to look at what we view as success, because we're so busy thinking of what society thinks that we should have as success that we don't look at our own success. I absolutely have to say, no one ever told me that at the age of 29, I would still find it very hard to have the motivation to do self-care. It doesn't make any sense having to wake up, get myself into a routine of doing my skincare and like brushing my teeth and things is still effort to me. It makes no sense. Like, it makes no sense to me. I don't understand how I can't get myself motivated. But yeah, I never thought at the age of 20, I've not... It's like the third week running that I haven't charged my bloody toothbrush. Okay, let me stop my mum's and then I'm gonna, no, legit, do you know what we can do? Do it now. I need to charge it now. It's charging. I mean, the fact that I've left my job and I'm trying to pursue my dreams, once I'd done that and I looked at that, I was like, yeah, do you know what? I am being successful because I've done something that I've always wanted to do. I'm doing something that I really love. And for me, that makes me successful. Screw the fact that I don't have a house. I'm not going to have a house for a while, but I'm doing something that I love. And for me, that is much more important than having a job that doesn't give me so much joy, but I'm earning money so I can go on those holidays. So we all kind of need to just view our own personal success in a different way and really understand what is successful for us. I mean, the fact that I've just brushed my teeth this morning and done my skincare, that's a freaking success. I'm so proud of that. I did it. I brushed my teeth. Woo! Basic human things, but you gotta celebrate the small wins. That is a victory in my eyes, the fact that I woke up, I've done, well, I didn't do it straight away, but I've done my skincare and I brushed my teeth. Well done me! I'm proud of it. Right. I've smashed it for today. And that's a successful thing for me. But, you know, if I then started comparing myself to Sally down the road who cleans her face every single day without hesitation, that's going to make me feel like... But instead I'm looking at myself and I've gone, do you know what? Yesterday I didn't get up and I didn't wash my face until I went to bed in the evening and then my skin broke out a little bit. But today I've gotten up and I've done it. I'm celebrating the small wins. And once you start adding up those small wins, it just makes you feel better about your life and it makes you feel so much happier in what you're doing. I need to get off this toilet. I'm literally just sitting here, but I had to just like, I'm just ranting. And then we go, let's move location. It's a really nice day, so let's go just sit outside in the sun for a little bit. I also need to take the dogs for a walk, so we probably need to do that in a little bit as well. But let's just go sit outside in the sunshine because it's sunny, and how often do you get that in the UK? Like, never, ever, ever. Oh, yeah, let's go in the sun. So really long story long. Is I think what you need to know is that you're not behind, okay? What you can really do is just look at things and start looking at stuff in your life that does make you successful. Grow as a person and just know you're not behind. Set yourself own little personal goals because that's just gonna help like feel like you're moving. I feel like sometimes what's really easy to feel like you're really falling behind is when you're looking at the big picture but not all the small little bits. So write down what I actually have done recently that's really made me feel really good is don't eat that's a little rusty nail, that's not good for you. What I've done recently, which has really helped, is that instead of, you know, like I've got goals in my life and what I want to achieve, instead of writing down the big one, I wrote the big one, like my big aim for my life at the top, and then I've done all of the other sequences that I would need to do to be able to get to that. And then what that makes you feel like is when you're then crossing all the smaller things off the list, it makes you realize that you are moving towards a goal. That has completely changed me recently because, for example, you're saving for a house. You need a deposit of £50,000. Okay, I don't know how much a house is. I can't even think of that, you know, I don't even know. But if you have a goal, you write down something like, I saved my first 100, and it can be as simple as that, like small, save my first pound, save my first £10, save my first £100. If you write them down and you're ticking them off a list, do you know how good that's going to make you feel? Because it shows you that you're moving towards your goals and you're not going to feel like you're falling behind because you're moving towards them. A lot of the times we feel like behind because we look at the big pictures and not the little steps that we're making towards it. What we need to do is just shift shift our mindset to see the little victories and show that we are doing amazing and we're not falling behind. We're just on a different path from other people. We're like those cars. We have the same start, we have the same end, but our journey is completely different from someone else. And in fact, you know, you in a couple of years could look back and be like, my journey was actually really fun, but we don't remember it in the time. You've got to remember hindsight is 2020. It's 2024, you know? And it's one of those things that even though at the time it can make you feel like you're not going anywhere, when you look back in the future, you really are going to think, God, I have made a difference and I'm really moving forward in my life. Benchmarks are a really, really weird thing where we feel like we have all of these benchmarks in our life that we should be hitting. And when we don't, it makes us feel really, really rubbish. But instead of having these benchmarks that we feel like we're not hitting, what if we turned it around and made it into something like personal development instead? The fact that you've woken up this morning and you've got yourself into a habit because you worked out and you've been working out consistently for a few weeks and you're feeling really good in yourself and you're doing amazing and you're working towards making yourself feel healthy. What if we look at those instead of the benchmarks? Because I feel like if you're looking at the benchmarks and being like, I haven't got this and that and that and that and that, that's when we can feel really rubbish. But if we look at the small victories that we have in our life and the way that we're developing as a human being, I feel like sometimes that's so much more important. At the end of the day, material things come and go from your life, but one thing is always going to be the consistent, and that is you. So instead of maybe looking at benchmarks and being rubbish because I don't have this, what about if we turn it around and we look internally? Because even if maybe we aren't where we want to be, what I've really noticed recently is that I have grown so much as a human and I now love myself. I lost myself for a very long time. I went through a really bad mental health period where I was struggling. Like, oh my God, I can't even explain to you how much I was struggling. It was awful. I really, really lost myself for a very long time. All I was trying to do was trying to get back to being me. Even though I'm pretty much still in the same space as where I was 2-3 years ago, where I'm still living at home, I have grown and I have developed as a human being. And for me, that is so much better than the fact that I could be living in London, because what would happen is I'd move up to London and I would still have been the same miserable, unhappy person as I was before. Even though I haven't got the materialistic things in my life at the moment, I have got personal development that I have been wanting for a very long time. You know, I used to look at myself as when I was really young and be like, what happened to that girl? Like before the age of 16 pretty much, where my anxiety kicked in fully and this lack of self-confidence and the feeling of being behind and feeling like I was failing at life from a very young age. I have now got the personal development, which means that even though I've not, got the materialistic things that I would love, like to have my own place and, to be able to go out and do loads of things and go on holidays and all that kind of stuff, which is a goal for me to be able to do some point in the future. When I look back now, I think what I've gone through is so much better than having those materialistic things, because I've got the personal development. Now I'm going to go into these things that I will have in the future, and I like to tell myself I will have, because instead of being like one day I would like to have, no, I'm telling myself I have that, it's going to happen, it's coming, turning it on a really positive. Even if I had gotten those things, I would have been still the same miserable person who was struggling for years and years and years. But now that I've had the personal development side, I think that in the future it's going to be so much better when I have those things, because I'm genuinely going to be a happy person, and now I'm at the other side and I'm stronger than I've ever been before, and I'm back. I'm back. I love the Lydia that I was. I really think of how grateful I am to have gone through that self-development, so that I can then in the future, when I do have those things, I will appreciate it a whole load more. And sometimes I think where we get so distracted by materialistic things, we should have the babies, we should have the engagement ring, the house, be having the dream life. Sometimes development in your soul and as a person, as a human being, is so much better. It's so much better having the materialistic things. So if you're feeling a little bit behind because you haven't got all of these very materialistic, I'm going to call them materialistic goals. Do you know what? We're going to call them materialistic milestones, because that's what they are, really. If you think about it, they're having the kids, having the house, all that kind of stuff. The materialistic things will come, okay? Materialistic things come and go in your life, but self-development is even better. So if you're struggling because you feel like you're not hitting these benchmarks, which I have struggled with for a very long time, once you start seeing them as materialistic things and start looking towards how you have grown as a human being and how you are doing things in your soul that make you genuinely happy, you're not going to feel like you're far behind. You're going to feel like you're doing incredibly well. But take a look back in the years and see how much you've actually grown as a person, because it might shock you how much you've changed and how much you've discovered your strength as a human. You have probably grown a whole load more than you've ever realized. And when it's not until you take stock that you realize that you've changed and you've grown, you might have gone out and got a new hobby or anything like that, anything that genuinely makes your soul happy, it's going to make you realize that you have been developing this whole entire time. You haven't been slacking. You haven't been behind everyone else because you've just been taking a different route. You're taking the personal development role, becoming more successful. You know, success is subjective. And once you start taking a look at the two different options of what you could be going through, you could be going through the materialistic side where you've been very successful, or you could be going through the personal development side, which has gotten you to where you are today and made you feel better than you ever have. So if you kind of break it down into looking at self-development milestones and also, you know, materialistic comfort zones, I think it's going to make you really change how you view milestones in your life, and it's going to show you that you're being successful when you're not far behind. You keep thinking you are, because you're not. You're just taking a different route. You've not got the materialistic side. It's fine, but you know what? I've made, or whatever it is, or these milestones that you feel like you should be having because that's what we've been kind of raised to believe we should be having. If you look at the other side, which is your personal development, you might become very proud of yourself and feel like you've done amazing in your life. And instead of criticizing yourself and making yourself feel horrendous about the things that you're lacking, it might make you feel like you've gained a whole lot more because you can see what you've managed to achieve inside. I am sat here and I've just realised I've not had a single drop. I've not had any water. I've not drunk anything today. No wonder I'm feeling a little bit thirsty. Hold on, okay. Where's my water bottle? Oh, I'm feeling really chaotic. I feel like I'm all over the place. I feel like I'm not doing what I need to do. I'm so chaotic. I have no bra on, I have no pants on, haven't taken my collagen today, I haven't had any protein, I haven't had any water, stuff. I need lunch. Oh, God. I feel like, the Incredibles when Edna Mode is like, pull yourself together. That's what I feel like I need to do right now. I need to pull myself together. So I kind of mentioned earlier by the fact that I had recently like shifted my mindset completely and I've been feeling really, really good. That like came down to a couple of things really that has just made me start appreciating what I have. My dogs are like running all over the place to do some fine because I just threw some treats to some barking. But that came from doing a lot of work internally. I think the only way that we can stop comparing ourselves to everyone, stop ourselves from feeling like we're behind, is if we start appreciating the little things that we have and start practicing gratitude for what we have. Recently is actually practicing a gratitude journal. That was something that has changed my mindset around what I have. If I'm feeling really in my life and I actually feel like I'm really far behind, all of that kind of stuff, I can then go back and look at this stuff and go, oh yeah, well, I've been achieving loads of different things and I am actually really grateful for the fact that I've got my dogs who make me smile every day, and I'm really grateful for the fact that I'm at home with my mum. And just writing down things that make you grateful every single day just completely changes how you're feeling about your situation, because it starts putting a positive spin on something that you've previously put a negative spin on. And I found that really, really helpful, is just practicing gratitude. But then also creating a positivity diary has really helped me recently. I think it's really easy sometimes that when we have a negative headspace, we tend to pile the good stuff in with the bad, and sometimes we can actually forget about the amazing things that are like happening in our lives basically. And what I started doing was practicing having 2 journals. So I actually do it on my phone. Not much of a writer, I can't write, I'm dyslexic. I found is having 2 different diaries really helped me, having a positivity diary and then having a brain dump diary, but not calling it like a negative diary, because I think that puts a negative connotation onto like how you're feeling. But if there's anything that is in my life at the moment is going on in my head where I'm feeling, oh, I feel really far behind, I just stick it in this diary as like a brain dump and I get it out of my head, because I find if you don't get it out of your head, you tend to stew. That's why therapy is so amazing. And I wish I could be back in therapy, but I'm a rich, successful, abundant girl, meaning that the funds are not there, but they're coming in. I try and take, I don't even want to say the B word, which is broke. I don't want to say I'm broke. But having a positivity diary as well is where I start. If there's anything amazing in the day, I put it in my diary. I then can look back whenever I need to just be like, yeah, all these amazing things are happening in my life. So one, practicing gratitude, having my gratitude journal and doing that every single day, every morning, writing down what I'm thankful for, and doing a random thing as what meal recently has made me feel really grateful in my life. Things like that, which you wouldn't usually think about. I try and think of really random things to speak about instead of just being the same basic thing every single time, like my dogs, my mom, all of that kind of stuff, because they do really make me happy, or my house and all that kind of stuff. And that has like really, really helped me recently. With the mindset thing as well, that has completely changed how I view things, is doing affirmations. That's hot. That's so hot. Is practicing affirmations as well. I swear by affirmations. I think affirmations are incredible. I've only recently been introduced to them, probably about a month ago, and been doing them religiously. I actually haven't done them today. I need to do them today. And I do them every single morning because I think starting your day off in positivity makes the rest of your day filled with positivity because you start thinking in a positive way. But one thing with affirmations that I've realized is that you really have to believe in them. And even if you don't physically believe in them, pretend you do to begin with. And then eventually your body then starts to change towards them. So how they work really is that they kind of put seeds in your brain. And as you keep repeating them and repeating them, you're basically changing how your brain views different things. So before, where I was feeling really negative about my life, I'd be like, oh, you know, I'm just not doing this, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. And it started to make me appreciate my life. And I think with affirmations as well, it boosts your self-confidence and it boosts appreciation to yourself, which then starts to make you feel better. So you won't start feeling so negatively about how you feel in yourself as much. And I think a lot of the time, what our insecurities and things come from with feeling like we're falling behind is the fact that we're not just feeling good in ourselves. If we felt good in ourselves and we felt happy in ourselves, we probably wouldn't feel like we're falling behind. Do you know what I mean? What affirmations does then is gets us feeling more confident in ourselves. It makes us feel better about ourselves because we're actively starting to teach our brain to think positively. And that's one of the things, like thinking positively is not a thing that people are born with. No, I think we're naturally born positive, but as you get older and you go through school and all that kind of stuff, they start to make you feel like crap about yourself and you go through life and you start to think negatively instead of positively like we did when we were children. And that for me has really shifted my mindset. I'm starting to look at things more positively. I'm starting to feel more confident in myself with the affirmations and things. Right, baby? Okay, Papa. And that has really helped me to feel like I'm not falling behind because I'm feeling good in myself. And a lot of the times we start comparing ourselves to others and we start feeling like we're not being good enough, achieving enough when we don't feel good in ourselves. And that is a tricky thing to change, but affirmations really can do a difference. And what you squanching at? You squanching? But yeah, shifting your mindset is tough. It really is. And it takes work. Like, don't get me wrong. I still, even though I try to think positively, like I have to actively think positively because my brain is really wired to be really negative. I'm having some Christmas beers. It takes practice. And I know I've spoken to like people before and they've said like, no, I don't believe in them. And you won't to begin with. That's the whole trick of it. But you have to pretend. You have to live in a world of Delulu. You have to like, living in a world of Delulu can really change how you feel in things. I actively live, I live in Delulu land. Like, call me Dipsy. I'm like Tinky Winky and all that kind of stuff. I try and make myself feel like a completely different person. But it really does help. And I think shifting your mindset to be more positive, it just takes away that feeling of feeling like you're behind because we do feel like we're behind and we do feel crap in ourselves when we feel crap in ourselves. That's Shakespeare, that is. Okay. As well as doing like mental, oh my god, my dog nearly just knocked over my, that would have been so bad. As well as doing like mental, you know, change your mindset kind of things, there's also physical things that you can really do that really does make a difference to how you feel about your life. I think the big one that I've recently started doing is social media detox has really started to help me. What I found was that I was constantly comparing myself to other people. That I found on social media, there's no one quite like me. You know, I don't leave the house very often. I don't have too many friends. I'm rich, successful, I'm abundant. The funds are not there, but they're coming in. I don't get to go on holidays like people do. I don't have my own house. So all of a sudden I start going to a pit. I'm like, oh my God. I am falling behind. No, we're not. We're staying positive. But I didn't really find anyone like me. And until actually recently, I came across an account which I really, really love, which was like Samantha Joe, who I've started watching religiously and things as well. I really think what is really important is to get away from your phone. I think sometimes we get so caught up in living in a world of social media that we forget to live in the present and we forget to remember what life is like. And I think we get so wrapped up in seeing other people live these incredible lives. We forget that that's not what life is like 100% of the time. That's only like the 2% of people's lives. And so I think getting away from your phone is so incredible. I don't have set days. I do it based on how I'm feeling. I don't like to set days because I feel like on days where you're feeling really good, it's an enjoyable experience where I do it based on how I feel mentally. So if I'm having a really negative day where I know if I go on and I see someone once again going on holiday, it's going to make me feel So I put my phone down and I have a detox day because it's so hard not to compare ourselves to others. So the best thing you can do is prevent it before you've even started doing it. That makes sense? Does that, in my brain, that makes sense, but I don't know if it does. But just having those days really can just stop us from getting that comparison trap, because the comparison trap is the worst trap of all. Worse than The Parent Trap. No, that was a great film. Parent Trap was banger. Do you remember? Lindsay Lohan. So good. It's such a good movie. Such a good. How did she do? Wait, hold up. It was Lindsay Lohan, wasn't it? She did 2 characters. That is a lot for a kid at the time. That is like that. Go on, girl. She was good. Yeah, you just don't get in the comparison trap. And also sometimes just really remembering that social media is fake is the best thing you can possibly do. People post their best bits. A lot of the time we don't see their bad bits. So remember that, okay? And you're still a bad biche if you have the bad bits. But it's just, get away from it. It's sometimes, just get away from your phone. Put it down. Put it down right now. I don't care what you're doing right now. Put it down. I mentioned it earlier as well, but one of my favorite things to do as well is if you are feeling like you're behind, you're not. First of all, remember that. That's what we say here. You are not. What is really, really great is actually writing down your goals, having it out of your head, but not just having your goals written down, but have all the small goals, have all the small goals that it takes. I mentioned it earlier pretty much, but yeah, have the small goals that it takes. My dog is literally gonna bash my laptop off get off the footstool. Let me move it. That's not your fault. Let me move it. Ah, you're okay. We've got you. Small goals. Yeah, have your big goals, but then also have your little goals. It's super duper easy to do is forget how far you've come. Celebrate the small victories, whether it's the fact that if you're trying to save for a house, you saved a £5. It might seem ridiculous, but it is in the long run going to make you feel so much better about yourself. Write them down, tick them off. We can really forget about the amazing things that we're doing because we're so worried about the future, what we're not achieving, that we forget that we are. So small victories. I literally have a book upstairs which is filled with my dreams, and I've got like it's a whole notebook, okay, and I've written down every single thing that I want to achieve. And there's like pages. A goal for me is to earn like 3k a month. Putting it down up until 3,000, it literally in the hundreds, so that I can go through and start ticking it off. Because it just shows you how far you're coming. Like that is so much better than just looking at the big picture and not seeing how far you've come. Being able to tick those little moments off shows you that you're moving towards your goals. So you won't feel like you're falling behind because you know you're moving towards a goal instead of, just not seeing the end result, because I think we're just programmed. Down, celebrate the small wins, but also celebrate them. I don't just mean like write them down and be like, ooh, small fist pump. Get yourself a chocolate bar. Take yourself out for drinks. Maybe if the funds aren't there, then don't do that, because, be sensible. Just really celebrate them, because all it's going to do is give you a sense of achievement, and it's going to make you feel better about how far you've come. Once you start celebrating things, like you're going to start tricking your body into feeling like it's really doing amazing things. Your brain is like stupid. Not yours personally, but as in like, you know what I mean? Your brain is actually really... I always think the brain is the most complicated and stupid thing in the body when it's meant to be the most intelligent. But honestly, your brain can be tricked into thinking anything. I saw this really amazing lady, I can't remember, I think she's called Mel or something, but she says you need to lie, steal and cheat at yourself every single day. Because once you start lying to yourself, you can actually start tricking the brain into thinking that is actually what's happening. The actively thinking positively, that's where that comes in. If you start being like, yeah, I'm doing amazing, your brain will start being like... Do you know what? I am doing amazing. And honestly, it's so stupid because you can trick it. The whole thing is like tricking it. It's like, like a dog where you throw the ball and it thinks it starts running off because it thinks the ball's been thrown. That's what your brain is like. It's trying to chase what you're feeling. You have the power to be able to control your brain by doing things and making it feel like it's doing well. So instead of sitting there and thinking I'm not where I am, your brain's going to start thinking really negatively and start feeling really horrible. But if you start tricking it into thinking it's doing amazing, eventually you're going to be like, I'm so doing good. And that's what I've done. I'm not going to lie to you. That's literally what I've done. Celebrate the small wins, but I mean properly celebrate it, whether that's get yourself a chocolate bar, take yourself out for drinks, buy yourself a new dress, do a dance around your house, invite your friend over, whatever it is, raise a toast to yourself. Really start celebrating the little wins, because it will make you feel a lot better, and you'll just really start to understand that you're doing amazing, because you are doing amazing, but we trick ourselves into thinking that we're not. So trick yourself into thinking you are.
Let's go for a dog walk. Let's do it. Yay!
honestly, it has been a motif of my 20s to feel like I'm falling behind, and it takes a lot of work to get yourself out of that headspace. But once you start doing the work and start to realize that you are on your own journey, you are your own main character in your own life, but just realizing that you are the only person, really, the only thing that can make yourself feel like that is you. And I know that sounds really harsh, and it took me a long time to realize that as well. But if you start practicing all the little things, like celebrating the little wins, practicing gratitude, really starting to look at your life as a whole instead of just the materialistic things, and seeing how far you've come as a human being, it can really make you realize that you aren't far behind. Okay, I promise you that you're not. It is hard, and don't get me wrong, I'm someone who does fall into it sometimes. You know, I do look at myself and I think I'm not where I thought I would be. That's a construction in my own head. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Like, I am the one that has said I wanted to be here at this age, and I haven't done it, and I'm the only one that's letting myself feel down about it. You know, created these expectations, but expectations, if you don't have those expectations, you know, and you just live in the moment, this is when it kind of changes and it makes you go, okay, I'm actually doing amazing. You know, I woke up and I brushed my teeth today. That's pretty cool. And it makes you start to realize that you're not doing as bad as you think you are. I think it's like when you start realizing that everyone's, no matter what people have in life, everyone looks and thinks that they're not doing good enough. And that's what makes it really, really sad about us as human beings, I think. Amazing. Start telling yourself, be kind to yourself. Like, the best thing, the most beautiful gift you can ever do is to be kind to yourself. But you are doing amazing. You're not falling behind. We're all not falling behind. Remember that your journey is not the same as anyone else's. So you're doing incredible on your own little track. And you know, everyone has the same destination, but our journeys are all different. And you just got to remember that, my lovely. I mean, if you could, I would love if you can tell me if you've got any of your, like, what you do to help you practice, like to feel like you're not falling behind, and let me know in the comments, because I would love to see. I think it's really great when you can build up toolboxes. That really does help, and being able to see other people's way of coping and feeling better in themselves and feeling better in their lives just really does help. So let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you do that I can also implement into my life as well, and I can give you a little update further down the line if I do introduce any of these things into my life. Just know you're doing incredible, because you truly are one incredible human being, and don't let anyone tell you any different, and don't let yourself tell you any different. And until next time, take care and keep shining.